time for free money. My college football picks against the spread.
All right.
It's going to be
How did last week go for you, Greg?
it went fine.
Yeah? What's
fine.
fine mean?
There were 10 games.
Yep.
I did not go 1-9. I
Okay.
did not go 0-10.
All right.
I did not go -1 and -11. I
How
could go on.
Well, how did you go?
I went somewhere between 2-8 and 4-6.
Okay.
Somewhere
so pretty
between
good.
there.
Now, in your defense, you're still very, very much in the black.
I'm 45, 35, and 2.
It's getting a little hairy, though.
45, 35,
It's
and
getting
2.
a little hairy, buddy.
It's narrowed, but this is the week we're going to bounce back. I will say that I think I had some. First of all, I think I had some bad beats last week. I think I had some bad beats.
I don't want to hear excuses.
So-
no one wants to hear your excuses.
first of all,
you
Texas-
call it free money
Texas State finally showed up,
for your bookie.
which is weird. Texas State finally showed up. Baylor no-showed. That did not help me. So it's time for free money. My college football picks against the spread. Max, 10 games this week.
A lot of games.
A lot of games.
Lot of games.
Actually, the one that disappointed me, not to go back, but the one that disappointed me the most
Uh-huh.
was SMU, who played awful, and then we're like, okay, we'll be a lot better than Tulsa. And then they won.
Yeah.
That was the one that upset me.
Sorry, buddy.
I know.
Sorry, buddy.
What's next, Max?
This one's going to be even worse. All right, let's get going. Whew, okay, I'm getting loose. Number 14, Auburn, War Eagle, heads into College Station to take on the Aggies. 11 a.m. Saturday. The Aggies are 15-point underdogs, and John Neal here in our comments says Aggies going to win.
I don't think they're going to win outright.
I don't think
I'll
they're
say
gonna
that.
win either,
I don't
but-
think they're going to win outright. Auburn is, in a lot of respects, they are kind of like Mississippi State,
But good.
but a little bit better.
But really good.
Yeah, so like they're an outstanding running team. They run the ball really, really well. They don't pass a ton, but when they do, they hit big plays.
Got
So
a
they
pretty
are
good quarterback. Maybe you've heard of him.
very good on play actions. Jarrett Stidham, the
Yeah.
former Stephenville quarterback and former Baylor signee. And they run the ball really well, and they have great play action. Now, I will say that when they run play action, they also give up a lot of sacks,
Right.
which is something to keep an eye on. The defense, though, is what's going to be the big problem here.
Yep.
The defense, I think, is better than Mississippi State's defense, which held Texas A&M almost completely in check. Excellent against the run. They don't give up big passing plays. They're going to need to – so A&M is going to have to dink and dunk down the field, and that's just not what they're built to do.
Yeah.
They don't pick the ball off much, but they do get pressure on the quarterback. I like Auburn in this one. I think they're going to cover it. I think they're going to cover 15. It's asking a lot.
I think Auburn's going to win, but I think covering 15 is risky.
Let's put it this way.
It's a lot.
Last week, Mississippi State, who we think is better than A&M. I'm sorry, who we think is they proved that last
right.
week. Who we think is better than worse than Auburn.
Yeah.
They beat A&M at home by 21.
Right. But that doesn't – I mean, it's not sequential. It's not like it's just going to be – like, I just think, though, outright, sure, 15, that's risky. I think it's riskier than you think it is.
I'm going to take Auburn. I'm not saying it's not risky, but
All right.
I think that 15's a good line.
You're going to take it.
I'm going to take Auburn minus 15.
Fair enough. All right.
What's next, Max?
Let's head to Minden. Or no. Out on the South Plains.
Yeah.
Yes. The mighty Kansas State Wildcats, who are a shadow of their former selves. 11 a.m. Saturday, taking on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. And the Red Raiders are a 3-point favorite,
So
which
this
is kind of sad.
This is super interesting because remember when Kansas State was like a team we really thought like, oh man, maybe they're like a deep
They might actually
sleeper.
be the good team this year.
They have faded hard
Yeah.
without Jesse
It's
Ertz.
not been great.
And Jesse Ertz remains, I believe, questionable for this game. They're fading right now. The running game's still pretty solid, but it's not what it once was.
Right.
And the passing game's really dissolved without Jesse Ertz. They're throwing more interceptions. They're getting sacked more. It's just not going well offensively for them. The rushing defense is still pretty solid, but the deep passing defense is still it's still below average, which is where I think Tech can take advantage. They don't pick the ball off, and they don't sack the quarterback. I think Tech wins this game, and I think they cover it. I think they cover the 3. This is weird. Now, I will say, if Jesse Ertz for some reason plays this week, that might change my opinion.
I mean, I get that people are down on Tech, but I just feel like that's a much safer play
At home, and the other thing is, I will say,
home, it's not that hard.
And I'm not a huge guy into like intangibles, but like this is a game that can maybe save Cliff Kingsbury's job.
Right.
And so I think they come out and they win. I think they come out. I think they win by about a touchdown.
It's an offense built to beat people by more than 3.
Yeah.
You know, Kansas State hadn't been good.
I'm going to take Texas Tech -3. What's next, Max?
Greg.
Oh.
It's the Futility Bowl. Baylor travels to Lawrence. The burning hellscape that it is. The Bears take on Kansas. 11 a.m. Saturday. Baylor.
Has there ever been a bigger lock to be kicked off at 11 a.m.?
Baylor, the worst team in Texas, taking on the worst team in Kansas, is still an 8-point favorite, which actually seems right.
It seems about
Kansas
right.
is terrible, and Baylor isn't as bad as they look.
The thing is, like it's so weird because like normally, if I hadn't signed up to do this stupid segment, I would just tell you don't go anywhere near this game because in the end you will be breaking my cardinal rule of wagering, which is don't ask a bad team to do good things.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, one bad team has to do a good thing.
Somebody's going to win this game.
That's the thing. I'm actually like kind of interested in this game because it's so weird.
Here is where I think it's going to be. Here's why I'm taking Baylor and
and the points
-8.
I'm
taking it because I think that the defense is going to be able to shut down Kansas, and they're going to get just enough from Charlie Brewer. I think that's essentially what they're going to get. I think this game is going to be hideous. Do not watch this game. Don't. If you are not like legally bound to watch this game, don't. It's going to be ugly. Kansas doesn't do anything well. Baylor does. Baylor has at least flashed moments where they look like a competent football team.
I think they could put it together and make this look really clean. They could.
I
don't know they will, but
I think there's a fair chance Baylor wins this game like 31-7 or something like something like running away with it.
This is the game Baylor needs.
I think they know that.
Yeah.
I think Baylor wins this game.
And I think
taking Baylor -8.
And I think Kansas has the writing on the wall. I think it's probably the end of this regime in Kansas. So
I'm going to take Baylor -8. Come on, Baylor.
You're rooting for Baylor on the road.
I'm rooting for Baylor on the road to win by more than a touchdown.
Yeah, this is...
It's dicey, but I'm going to take Baylor -8.
And you wonder why your picks are sliding.
What's next, Max?
East Carolina, truly one of the worst teams in the country, heads into Houston, 11 a.m. Saturday, to take on the Cougs, who are 24.5-point favorites.
Remember when East Carolina was like a good team?
It was like 3 years ago. Ruffin McNeil had them rolling, man.
Yeah, it really did. This team sucks.
Yeah.
They're really
bad.
If you haven't paid any attention
really
to them,
bad.
which it's easy to forget about East Carolina when
Don't
they're bad.
blame you.
They're super bad.
They're so bad.
They do one thing okay. They can hit big plays in the passing game.
Right.
Every once in a while, they will hit a home run. That is their only hope to keep this close. They cannot run the ball. They cannot dink and dunk Houston, especially this defense. If they don't, and the defense is really bad. So I think this could be a breakout game for De'Aaron King and company. If they can have that game, I'm not entirely certain East Carolina scores in this game.
It's possible.
I'm really not certain. I'm going to take Houston -24.5, and I know that seems crazy.
It does seem crazy because I don't know how you can trust Houston, but I get what you're saying.
I think they found a spark last week against in De'Aaron King against a much better defense. In South Florida. I'm going to take Houston -24.5. What's next, man?
All right, and in another game, no one should have to watch. The Owls, hoot. Traveling to Birmingham to take on UAB, a 2 p.m. Saturday. Rice, 10.5-point dogs.
So UAB is actually not
terrible.
Yeah. They're not good.
They're not good.
I don't want you to mistake me for saying that UAB is good.
UAB is problematic.
They are problematic.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. They run the ball pretty well. Their passing game is kind of a dink and dunk passing game. It's okay. They take care of the football. They do like little things right. Their passing defense is solid, but that shouldn't matter because Rice shouldn't be throwing the ball. Their running game can be beat a bit on the ground. But in the end, you're asking Rice to go on the road and do something good. The other thing about this, and I want to pull this up. I had this here in a minute ago. But
wasn't it like just last week that Rice did a thing that everyone was like, "Wow, look at Rice."
Yeah, it was just a couple of weeks ago. They were actually
La Tech, right?
Yeah, it was La Tech. But I will tell you that Rice against the spread this year is only 2-6. Okay, only 2-6. UAB is 6-2.
Ooh.
UAB for all of its faults has been a covering machine.
All right.
I'm going to take UAB minus 10.5.
Or you could say they're due the other way, but hey, you're fine. Go.
What's next, Max?
The Fightin' Larry Rose III's New Mexico State heading into San Marcos, taking on the Texas State Bobcats. 2 p.m. Saturday. Texas State 9.5-point dogs. Should be more. Larry Rose III is gonna teach him something.
So here's the funny thing.
Oh, here we go.
We say that.
Yeah.
They have totally shifted their offense away from him.
Sure.
From running the game. They throw the ball a lot with Tyler Rogers now.
But this is the only universe I will acknowledge.
Agree. No, I agree. I understand.
I don't care if New Mexico State only throws. It's Larry Rose III's team.
I will tell you that for me, we can talk all we want about the fact that New Mexico State throws the ball pretty well. They don't run the ball particularly effectively this year, which is weird.
This will be the game they do.
The defense is better against the pass than it is against the run, but it's average overall. We can talk about all that. Here is the bottom line of it. The bottom line of it is that I think New Mexico State is going to live in the backfield of the Texas State offense. They get a good pass rush, and I think they're going to win this game by double digits. I think New Mexico State wins this game by double digits. I'm taking New Mexico State minus 9.5 on the road. I think they win this game because I think that overall, even though Texas State did show me something last week, I think New Mexico State is better than Coastal Carolina by a pretty significant margin.
Okay.
And even still, even with playing a terrible team in Coastal Carolina, the offense was only okay for Texas State.
Right.
I'm going to take New Mexico. I'm going to take New Mexico State minus 9.
All right.
What's next, Max?
North Texas, the Mean Green, heading to Ruston. Take on Louisiana Tech, 2:30 p.m. Saturday. Mean Green is a 4-point dog. That seems about right.
So this is a weird game to me because Louisiana Tech is an average offensive team. They pass the ball with a little bit of explosiveness, but that's not it. They've got some decent balance, but they cannot stop the run. And that's a big thing. They cannot stop the run, and they can be dinked and dunked to death, which in a lot of respects is kind of what North Texas is built for, right?
Yeah.
They are an underneath passing team and a running team, and those are teams that they do. They don't stack the quarterback very much. They do have a fair amount of. They have an excellent turnover margin. That's where they win the games. It's that they turn the ball over. Now, if you want to pick Louisiana Tech, all you have to do is say, look at the last time North Texas went on the road, right?
Right.
Last time they went on the road, they crapped all over themselves against Florida Atlantic. This is probably the toughest one for me to call.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to be a homer, and I think I'm going to take North Texas +4.
Okay.
But the road thing scares me a little bit.
As it should.
And so I'm going to take North Texas +4. I don't love it. My actual betting advice on this is don't bet on this game.
Well, that's not how the segment works, Greg.
Not how the segment works. What's next, Max?
UTSA going to Miami, going to party it up. Taking on Florida International, 6 p.m. Saturday. UTSA is a 4-point favorite. Boy, that seems dangerous.
It does seem dangerous. Florida International is defense is not very good. They don't stop the run very well, and they let a lot of passes get completed underneath. They don't sack the quarterback. The UTSA offense should theoretically be able to have a good game. And then you lean on the UTSA defense, which I think overall has been pretty solid, right? UTSA's defense overall solid.
And they have some playmakers. I mean, Davenport's been great.
They're going up against a decent Florida International team.
Yeah.
Offense. They run the ball okay, but they throw a lot of interceptions. They throw a lot of picks. They put it into dangerous areas. I think right now it is fair to call UTSA's defense against Florida International's offense a draw. Let's say that's a draw, right? Fair?
Probably, but I would say that what FIU struggles with is what UTSA is good at exploiting, right? They're going to get pressure on the quarterback. Mm-hmm. Tauefa is going to be a monster in the middle. These things
There's
matter.
that. The other thing, I think on the other side, I think UTSA has a pretty sizable advantage when they have the ball.
Sure.
As a result, I'm taking UTSA minus 4.5 on the road. I think they win this game by about a touchdown. What's next, Max?
On the road in Miami should be like some sort of gambling rule.
On the road in Miami. Always bet on the road in Miami.
I'd always bet on the home team in Miami because going to Miami, it's problematic. The biggin, the Horns, heading to Fort Worth, take on 8 TCU, 6:15 p.m. Saturday. TCU is a 6.5-point favorite.
So I want to pull this up. I want to know where this opened.
If it's changed at all?
Yeah, I want to know where this where the steam is on this game, because for me, I wonder if there's been a lot of money coming in on Texas, because 6.5 seems low, right? Doesn't it?
Yeah,
I think it seems a little bit low. Yeah, no, it's stayed at, well. So right now I'm seeing it at 7, so it's 6.5. What I found it at 6.5 yesterday, so I'm gonna call it 6.5. I think TCU's defense is going to be able to shut down the Texas running game. They're going to make Shane Buechele beat them with his arm, which does not seem like a recipe for success.
Or Sam Ehlinger.
But at the same time, the Texas rush defense should be able to slow down the TCU pass defense.
Yeah.
The question becomes, who do you trust more?
Oh, here we go. I know where this is going, yeah.
Do you trust Kenny Hill and the TCU passing attack, or do you trust the Texas quarterback conglomerate, right?
Does this turn into Texas-Oklahoma State Part 2, like 14-10 or something like that? It
could be. This game, boy, I sound like a broken record.
Yeah.
This game comes down to whether or not Kenny Hill takes care of the football.
Oh, boy.
Now, I will say he's taking care of the football at home. Maybe that's part of it, is that he needs to be at home in the friendly confines of Amon G. Carter Stadium. I'm taking TCU minus 6.5. In the end, they're the better team. The better team should win. I'm going to take TCU minus 6.5. I think they win this game by about 7-10. That's where I'm at. But that, I mean, you're putting your faith in Kenny Hill, which after last week, I understand if you don't want to do that. What's next, Max?
Oh, boy, ponies. Number 18, UCF, coming to the Hilltop, take on SMU, 6:15 p.m. Saturday. SMU is 14.5-point dog.
So UCF is an outstanding offense.
They are
outstanding offense.
They're going to put up the points.
They're going to put up the points. The question is can SMU match them?
Probably not, because SMU's defense is going to let them put up a lot of points.
14.5 is a lot, though. That's the one thing. It is just good enough. If it were 13.5, I'd be like, yeah, absolutely. 14.5 makes it interesting. If you haven't paid attention to UCF, they are pretty darn good.
They're going to score at will.
And the defense is actually pretty solid versus the pass. And maybe the biggest factor here, they are 4th in interception rate. They pick off a lot of passes. And for Ben Hicks, for all the things he does well, he can try to fit it into tight spots.
Yep.
I like Central Florida in this one. I think they cover 14.5, even though that's a ton.
Love it if SMU surprised me, but
I would love it if SMU surprised me.
The writing seems to be on the wall in this one.
I'm going to take UCF minus 14.5. And finally, Max.
Yeah. Boy, this is a way to end a show. UTEP.
Let's go to Murfreesboro.
Going to Murfreesboro to take on Middle Tennessee, 6:30 p.m. Saturday, in a game in which they are 19.5-point dogs. Boy, we know how to end on a bang here.
And Middle Tennessee, the thing is, man, Middle Tennessee is nothing special.
Yeah.
They are a big bag of nothing special. The passing offense is okay, which should be able to feast on Texas, or I'm sorry, on UTEP. They can't run the ball. They throw a fair amount of interceptions. They do. I will say that unfortunately for UTEP, the things that are weakest for Middle Tennessee, they look totally unprepared to exploit.
Right.
For example, they give up a lot of short passes.
Yeah.
UTEP does not complete a lot of short passes.
Yeah.
They don't get hit with the big play. That's a good thing for Middle Tennessee. They are pretty good against the run, and UTEP can't run the ball. I'm going to take Middle Tennessee State minus 19.5 at home. I just don't see a reason to expect UTEP to do something good. So those are my free money picks for Week 10. I like Auburn minus 15 at Texas A&M. I like Texas Tech minus 3 at home against Kansas State. I like Baylor minus 8 at Kansas. Ugh.
See, you're reading all these out loud now, and it's starting to set in.
The Baylor one's the one that gives me a little bit of pause.
No, man. There's a lot there to worry about.
I'm going with Houston minus 24.5 at home against East Carolina. I like UAB minus 10.5 at home against Rice. I like New Mexico State minus 9.5 at Texas State. I like North Texas plus 4 at Louisiana Tech. I like UTSA minus 4.5 at Florida International. I like TCU minus 6.5 at home against Texas. I like Central Florida minus 14.5 at SMU, and I like Middle Tennessee State minus 19.5 at home against UTEP. A lot of favorites this week. Taking a lot of favorites. Prove me wrong, underdogs. Prove me wrong.